These are the Podium pedals, very highly anticipated, and this is not a review. As I stated on my previous video, I am currently working for Fanatec, and in terms of videos regarding hardware, the only things that I can really do about pedals and wheelbases is essentially a presentation, which is what I'm doing right now. So that means once you finish this video, go check out all the other reviews out there so you get a bigger picture. The Podium pedals, like the name implies, are being positioning in the top end of sim racing pedals of this type, and all the features in reality of the pedals and build quality really imply that too. For the launch, there are a couple of bundles available, namely this one that I received to show you, which will be the Podium Pedals Formula. 2 pedal sets with these also carbon faces and these carbon cups. And also for those of you who are going to pre-order for a limited time, you're also going to get GT faces for free, so you can basically change this all you want. There will also be a 3-pedal version being launched, but there was an issue with quality control regarding with the clutch, and that has been postponed towards Q3. The prices of both bundles are exactly the same. If you choose the Podium Pedals Formula or if you choose the 3-pedal GT version, it will be 699 euros or dollars. And you can buy also some of these parts separately, namely the carbon cups that will have a cost of the faceplate $79.95 and the heel cups will be $70. The clutch module can also be bought separately, and the clutch will be having a price of 200 euros, and then you need to attach on top of it one of the GT pedal places, bringing it to a total of 235 euros. These pedals are compatible with the PC and also with the console. In a PC, you can connect them via USB or via the wheelbase, and then on a console, you need to install it via the wheelbase, but it will be compatible with all systems that Fanatec or your wheelbase will be compatible with. Also optional, you can get the Fanatec pedal plate that comes with the base plate and also a heel rest. All of this is optional, and we're going to have a look at the pedals. We're going to start with the throttle because some of the things that we're going to see here, we're also going to see in the clutch. Now, the first thing that I noticed when I unpacked this, besides, being totally vertical, was the finishing of the parts. Generally, the finishing on some sim racing equipment, not so much at this price point, tends to be a little bit lackluster, but this one, I think it takes the cake because I've never seen forged aluminum in sim racing. Some parts of this are die-cast, some parts of this are forged with such a smooth finish. This is really smooth. This part is has a little more texture, but these parts over here, they will be definitely much more smooth. The same thing applies with the carbon finishing. This is really thick carbon. It's not just some sort of carbon plate. This is actually very well molded and has extreme rigidity. I've used carbon heel rests in the past, and this tends to also to bend. Not this one. This doesn't bend at all. I can put a lot of force in it, and it just simply does not bend. And one of the main things about the pedal set as a whole is that the main adjustments generally are done just by hand in very quick ways. But before going there, these carbon cups or these carbon plates, they are easily removed. Even though you have it here, they can be removed. For the top one, they can be moved up and down, and there will be some holes. So you take 2 of these sides, make the bolts adjustment, and you can have this tower a bit lower or a bit higher for the pedal faces. And for the cups, these cups are removable. There are 2 bolts over here, and there is also 1 main bolt over here at the top, and then this can all come out. One advantage of this system that has the cups, and you're probably looking at the price and also the price of the mounting plate, is that if you have a rigid enough system at home, a rigid enough chassis, you really don't need any sort of pedal plate. You can install this on your chassis or on an existing pedal plate because the distances between holes are more or less standard or not too much different from industry standards. So you can install this basically everywhere. That essentially means if you get this version, you really don't need to get the pedal plate. It will be just install this on your sim rig if you have the sim rig for that. And then these cups will basically get your feet here very, very easily. They also have some sort of adjustment. I had to adjust mine because the way that these were adjusted from the factory, it wasn't very comfortable for me. And then I, decided just to move this to the last point, and then they become actually quite really comfortable. Other adjustments you can have are elevation on this side. Of course, if you mount it, you have these rails to move forwards and backwards, or side, depending on your system. And then you have this little rotary over here, this golden rotary. This will dictate pedal throw. Currently for mine, it's at minimum. It has a really good pedal throw, but if you can rotate it to the max, it's going to take a while. You're going to have a much longer pedal throw. At the moment, there's no way to change the spring. Probably you can do it if you do it by yourself, but there's no replacement springs for this. I'm not sure if there's going to be any. And if you want to change the preload because you want to have a stiffer spring, you can just rotate this a little more and then use the second one. Most of these adjustments are exactly the same as the throttle, the same for the pedal faces, the same for the carbon cups, and of course the elevation. But of course, the main thing about the podium pedals is essentially the brake system, which is comprised by 4 cups. And these cups can be customized in any way, shape, or form. You can essentially remove the elastomers, you can lock these systems, you can lock these cells and basically bypass them, or you can change springs. You can make the pedals fully spring or just fully elastomer, mix and match, or nothing at all, really. So inside the box, you have the accessories, and inside of the accessories, you're gonna have elastomers and also springs. How it comes from the factory, it's a bit too hard for me. I like to have the elastomers, but the spring was a bit too hard, and I decided to change to a green spring, and also to make the pedal throw a little bit shorter, because the pedal throw can be very long if you want to, or it can be basically non-existent. To remove all of this is essentially undoing the first cell. Then you just pop it out, and you take the load cell over here, and then you can start removing each specific part that you want, and then you can mix and match whatever you need to. These cups serve multiple purposes. This is quite an intelligent solution. It serves multiple purposes, not only to, as you've seen in a lot of pedals out there, you're going to have multiple elastomers or multiple springs, but not only it does that, it also is going to control the elastomer hysteresis or the elastomer compression. There's going to be a limit inside of the elastomer. It can give you quite different pedal characteristics depending on how you customize this. So I ended up in one of the cups almost fully closing it. I just wanted a little less movement, and then that was basically enough. It stiffened up a little bit of the movement, but at the same time it just limited the movement a little bit to better suit how I like to drive. I like a softer spring at the beginning, so I have 20-30% as a spring reaction, and then the rest it will be just muscle behind the elastomer until it hits what I want. And because you really don't need tools to change anything of this, you can, within a few minutes or a few moments, depending on what you want to do with the pedal set, you can make this pedal, even in the same configuration, you can make it completely different. For example, if I want to, in one of these cells, to remove all of the movements to make it even stiffer, you can essentially do that. And by doing this, by just rotating this, there's going to be 2 tools to help you to lock the screw and a counter screw. This changes the characteristics of the brake pedal significantly. So you have so many choice at hand. And if you want, you can just make it direct into the load cell. So if you want something really stiff as a rock or something like that, you can do exactly that. These pedals have very high degree of customization. Couple of points to finish the pedals. The first one is relative to these holes over here at the top. These will be just general holes if you want to get some sort of haptics in your pedals. These pedals are prepared for haptics on the mounting part of it. The control box is very standard in terms of size. You have the 3 inputs, throttle, brake, and clutch. And then you also have 2 outputs, one USB-C, and then one of these RJ cables. This RJ cable is not one of the normal ones that you see in Fanatec. This side is thinner, and then on the other side you have the regular RJ12. Because you have these two holes at the side, you can mount this on your pedal plate, but you can also mount this or even stick something over here and then assemble it somewhere around your rig. And then the pedal plate. This is a quite interesting pedal plate. There are a few interesting features here. This pedal plate, you can look at it as Fanatec specific, but also if you want it to be, it can be universal, because there's really nothing here stopping anybody to use them on your own pedals. There are a few things that's going to be Fanatec specific, which will be the positioning of these holes, so you can put bolts through to set up your control box, because there's a control box for this pedal. To install your pedals, for the T-slot rails over here, you have these nuts, and one of the things that is good about at least the way they packaged it, is that you're going to have this. If you want to store this pedal plate for transit for one reason or the other, you can just use this plastic tab or foam pad, and then these will be locked in place. Otherwise, they can move left and right, and they'll make quite a noise. This thing is extruded aluminum. At the end of the day, it's a type of extruded aluminum. There is a profile of sorts, and it is extremely rigid. There are a few considerations though, because the pedal plate is heightened, or the pedal positioning or mounting is heightened. This is going to be taller than any other pedal plate out there, at least that I know of. That means that you're going to have to slightly adjust your sim rig if you are going to use one of these. You also have the heel rest. Once again, this is made out of very thick material. There's no considerations or issues with flex, because I don't think this is actually going to have issues with flex. This is extremely rigid. You don't need to use this if you're using with the carbon plates. In reality, with the carbon plates, there won't be any space for it, so you don't need to use the heel rest, because the carbon plates can be the heel rests. But if you don't want the wheel rests or carbon heel rests, you can basically take those off. I've shown you how, and then put this heel plate. Maybe that will be more useful for you. Let's have a quick look at the software. No matter if you're connected to USB or to the wheelbase, the pedals will be there. Of course, it is recommended to do a firmware update to your wheelbase, so they are recognized via the RJ cable. The first thing that you can do, literally, to configure your experience or to configure your software, is that if you don't have the clutch, for example, like it is my case, you can change the image and go directly to the 2-pedal mode, so you don't have the calibration of the clutch pedal. It makes no difference in practice. It's just a way to remove the clutch if you want to. Now, this is a very simple software. It's very similar to whatever it is around. You can, from the outside, change the brake force of the brake. So that means you have the ability of making the pedal more or less sensitive. It goes all the way from 0, if you want to, up to 1,500 newtons. So it's essentially, I have it at around a 60 kilo, and can go up to the 150 kilo maximum. With this, you can have a look if your pedals are responding, and if the brake force it is enough for you. And you also have the option to calibrate, do the start calibration system, go max and then go minimum, and the software will essentially do the rest. If we want to go to the characteristics or the advanced tab, there is over here the indication of a mechanical limit. The minimum for movement is 44 millimeters, and it goes up to a maximum of 60. The pedal will know where exactly it is for the mechanical limit. And then you also have the ability to change from linear, progressive, or digressive, but you cannot really change the dead zones when you are on these three modes over here. You can go to custom tree or custom true or whatever, and then from that point onwards, you can access your dead zones top and bottom. The cool thing about this pedal is that it can be used in the console, PlayStation. In my case, I've been testing this in Gran Turismo 7. You can save permanently all the settings that you see in software into the pedal's onboard memory, so it carries over from your PC into your console. The same thing is going to happen with your brake pedal. You can understand where you're hitting the maximum, so you can test by yourself where do you want the pedal to stop registering. In my case, once again, it's around 61 kilo. And this tends to be the right amount of pressure for me. Once you have everything done, you can save it permanently if you've done any sort of changes, and it goes directly into your board memory. With the Fanatec wheel, you can still access some of the controls via the menus that are available. That doesn't matter if this is the bigger screen or the smaller screen. So over here at the back, you have brake force. You can change your load cell force on the fly without going to the software, or you can access your brake pedal, clutch pedal, and throttle pedal maps. So on the brake pedal, for example, we have the custom 1, custom 2, and custom 3. These are the ones that you can customize on the software. And then of course you also have linear, the progressive, and the digressive. You can't customize the profiles via the wheel. That needs to be done via the software, but you can, on a per pedal basis, you can change which profile is going to be used at the moment on the fly via your Fanatec wheel. Doesn't matter if it's a bigger one or the smaller screen. In terms of performance and comfort, I will start with the comfort first. The carbon plates are extremely wide, so I'm pretty sure that pretty much all feet will be compatible with this. The finishing of the carbon plates, it is quite smooth. It is no problem whatsoever to use with the water shoes that I normally use. I tried it with socks, and I also tried it with bare feet, and I did not have any problems at all. I've also tried this carbon version without the mounting plate, and I had no problem whatsoever directly bolting it into my sim rig. It is super rigid. These pedals are rigid from the get-go, and if you don't have a pedal plate or don't want to buy one, this is a solution, and it was a solution for me as well. Personally, in terms of performance, I had no problems adapting with this. After 5-10 minutes of configuring and figure out what it is that I needed to do, they are pretty much straightforward pedals in a performance package that I like. I wasn't the fastest with them because I've been out of sim racing for around a month now because I've done a dislocated elbow and it's still recovering. Hopefully very soon I will get to my normal times. Because of that same injury, I ended up not testing the ADES LMP3 when it came out in Luma Ultimate. So this was my first time after almost a month. It was a riot using that car and driving with these pedals. And going into the PlayStation, it was simply just connected to the back of the wheelbase. And, well, once again, very naturally feeling to use that in that simulator. The Podium pedals are out now for pre-order. I hope this video was informative, but once again, don't take my word for it. Go check out the reviews out there so you get a bigger picture.